Hang Time is part of the Globally Balling Network, and you can check out our social media. That's facebook.com/globallyballin. Instagram, don't forget to follow us at Globally Ballin Official. And don't forget also to tweet us. You can tweet us your suggestions of who you want us to interview in all kinds of sports here in the Philippines. That's at Globally Ballin. And for all of our sports fans, we've got more shows for you here from the Globally Ballin Network. We have the Globally Ballin podcast, an eternity of basketball, Hang Time, and Who the Heck Are We? Just check it out on our YouTube page. That's at Globally Ballin. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we release a new video. And we have a new network show. Help us welcome Who the Heck Are We for sports opinions and stories. It's available on Spotify and on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and follow. If it's still not enough that ball is life, well, for all our shoot lovers, basketball lovers, we've got an eternity of basketball just for you, provided by the Globally Ballin Network. Again, available on Spotify and on YouTube. And for a quick and easy way to find us on all of our social media and all of our different shows, you can check it out. Our link tree, that's on the site right there, and you can find the link at the top of all of our show descriptions. And welcome, guys, to another episode of Hang Time with me, Denice Disney. And for today's episode, finally, it has happened. An interview with former multi-light volleyball player, but now we welcome her into Signal, Ayel Estrañero. Ayel, thank you so much.
Hello, finally. After a couple of tries.
After a couple of tries.
Thank you, Denise, for having me.
No, I think I have like a lot of requests, of course, for people na sabi daw, well, masyado ng bias sa Katipunan. But, I can't go far. Went to my neighbor. So, I have you. And I think, no, one thing that I remember so much about you, and yung memory talaga na nag-stick sa mind ko about you, is the depth of your answers whenever I ask you questions, even back in courtside sa PVL. Like, yun yung talagang tatak Ayel na, pinag-isipan niyo yung mga sagot. You never give just shallow answers. It was always, these are the things. And, machika ka. No! Saka marami mo kayong baon. Like, whenever I interview you, I'm good for mga 2 games.
Okay na, tapos na.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Ito, wala lang kailangan interview for the next 2 games. Solve na ako for this. Like, okay, keep bringing Ayel stories up. But thank you so much, Ayel. And I remember the time also na may pasabog ka this COVID, which was transferring of teams. Let's start there. What happened? Like, congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. So everyone knows that Motalight disbanded, right? So in the middle of January or February, we all had to look for other teams. And I'm very fortunate that Signal actually gave me this opportunity to be part of their team. And, that was a difficult time as well because most of the teams were already full and you were all trying to look for teams, right? May iba sa amin na may kumukuha, may iba na we personally look for teams, right? Because it was hard, like the recruitment period was already done and most of the players already signed their contracts. So I just got lucky and I'm very blessed to be with Signal right now. So, thank you for the Signal family for giving me this opportunity. But when it first happened, like when I already signed the contract, I felt excited, but also nervous at the same time, right? Because I'm
every new journey, you always feel nervous about it, eh?
Yeah, and you tend to kind of overthink din talaga. And especially in my case, where I've been in a team and been with players and teammates who I've been with for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like my previous team, I wouldn't consider it as something different or something new to me because I had the same coach, although there were new coaches at the same time. Coach Okumu was still there to guide me, and I had my UP teammates with me during the time. So it was still a very comfortable and familiar place for me, right? So wala pa yung trying to tiptoe around, trying to navigate myself, trying to figure out kung paano ba to, di ba? But in this new team, very opposite, the total extreme. I don't know anyone personally. Like I know them. I know them because I've watched them play and I've watched the team. The team has been here for a really long time. So it was a very unfamiliar place for me. I
Yeah.
felt uncomfortable, and sometimes when you're uncomfortable, you try to overthink. So, like what
True.
I said earlier, I kind of tiptoe around during my first few days. So I wasn't really sure, like, how should I do this? Should I do this? Like, what if I say this? And I was really overthinking. And it came a point, like one day, I just snapped out of it. Like, you know
Mhm.
what? You just really have to be yourself. You don't have to overthink it, right? You just have to be you, and the rest will just happen. So I think that's I was excited for and nervous for the same reasons because it was a new environment, new teammates, new coaches, and probably a new system and a new management, right? So everything was new. So it was exciting, but it was very nerve wracking at the same time because it was the first time that it happened to me after what since first year college up until like last year. Like I was
Yeah.
with the same, almost the same set of people who I'm very comfortable with and who knows me very well
Mhm.
that I don't have to explain myself or I don't have to think whether I have to say this or whether I have to do that and what would the reaction be. Because even my sleeping patterns, they know. Even the things I'm about to say, alam na nila. That's the kind of relationship I have with my teammates and my coaches before. So here I am in a new environment. But what I like about it at the same time, you're in a new environment and parang unfamiliar and uncomfortable. You're pretty sure you're gonna grow and you're gonna learn new things about yourself because you're gonna try to figure out how you have to do it, right? And you figure out new things about yourself. And that's the thing, I guess. I'm lucky. I've been in teams before who
Mhm.
appreciates and recognizes the work of a sports psychologist, right? Dami ko nang sinabi.
Go lang.
Yeah,
Marami pa akong
but
tanong.
yeah,
So, trust me,
because
like, I'm taking down
that
all of these
that's
things.
that's where it's all coming from. Because I was listening to this podcast earlier, and parang the host said something about you have the ability to self coach, and I
Mhm.
think that's the thing because the things I've learned from our sports psychologist before, I'm really trying to apply it to myself in situations that I really need it. So in a sense, I think I'm self coaching myself.
Which is
So
good.
yeah,
Not a lot of people can do that.
yeah, and it really helps when you're self aware, when you have a high level of self awareness. But
Mhm.
it doesn't happen just in an instant. It's like it takes years, months, actually really years of like be mindfully and consciously practicing certain strategies, mental strategies and techniques. So
And that's what I
yeah.
wanted. And that's what I wanted to ask. You mentioned kanina na I think this is true for a lot of people. I think I can relate to this. When it's a new environment, you overthink. You overthink
Yeah.
so many scenarios, so many situations, so many things of how it can go wrong and right at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's overwhelming. But the hardest part of overthinking kasi is getting over it, which is
Yeah,
also a lot of
definitely.
overthinking. So
Exactly,
so,
exactly.
so it's like
That's
you're
so
caught
true.
in this vicious cycle of like it's a mental psychological warfare. And
Yeah.
for you, I guess, how did you snap out of it?
Yeah. Okay. So, we had the sports psychologist before, Sir Marcos Manalo. He's really good. And when he does his first sessions, he always reminds us of three basic principles. Like he would introduce us this model about how we can deal with situations. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
explain it to you. So there's this situation, right? And then there's
Okay.
this like this is how you respond or you react. But before you get to that, you always pass through your mindset, right? So it's not like there's no direct relationship with your the current situation,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if it's environmental or whatever situation is that. to your reaction or the way you respond to it. There's always a certain mindset. And with that mindset, parang he taught us like three basic principles. First is to always stay in the present. Like be be present in the moment, be mindful about it, stay in the present, focus on the now. That's what he always reminds us. And then control the controllables.
Yes.
The risk sometimes a lot of things that we overthink about are things that are really out of our control. I think we
True.
always have to remind ourselves to just focus on what we can control because the uncontrollables we can't do anything about it. And
Exactly,
the last
exactly.
is be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm.
That's the one thing that I always try to remind myself. I think life is not comfortable all the time. In fact, it's uncomfortable at most times. And if
Yes.
we can't adapt in that certain environment that we're in, if we'll just try to dwell with how uncomfortable it makes us feel, then I think we couldn't. It's hard for us to thrive in that environment. If we want to grow, we really have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah. So that's the three basic principles that he taught us that I will never and I've never forgotten. And I try to reapply it in a daily basis. So I think that's also the reason why I really remembered it. And it really it like it's stuck here. Like it's just here all the time. Like now it becomes natural for me to think about it and to apply it because since I've learned about it, I try to practice it daily as much as I can. So yeah.
And I think the best part about those three steps is it's a holistic process. Na parang
Yeah.
part of like it's something that you can apply also. Like first is you mentioned that you be present in the now. And for everyone, I think everyone in the situation and everyone is well aware, we're in a pandemic. We're in a global pandemic. We're even in quarantine a year after. How do you stay in the present when all you're doing is trying to, of course, reminisce either about the past or
Yeah.
dreaming about the future? But the thing is, this is the
Guilty.
life that's given to you. Yeah, me also.
Guilty. Oh my gosh. Like I would really catch myself daydreaming about like where I will travel next or like
Mm-hmm.
reminiscing about the past travels I have. Like
Yeah,
sobrang I really want to travel, but then like I can't. So that's out of my control and I really have to remind myself, you know what, just stay in the present. Just
mm-hmm.
focus on what's in front of you right now because that's the best thing you have right now and nothing
True.
else.
And that's what I was saying. Na parang it helps each other. Like if you have trouble staying in the present, you can do that. Especially when the present is a bit of a bad situation. We can use the third point that you mentioned, which is to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Because you have no
Yeah.
choice. You really have to change how it is. And I think those are three steps that everyone could apply to their lives
Mm-hmm.
and even to the little things. I think that's you really just have to start small. So from
Yeah.
micro, it goes macro. And
You just
thank you
have to
so
start
much to
somewhere.
Ayel. Yeah, guys, we should say our thanks to Ayel Estrañero for sharing these basic tips and principles. No, because you know how sometimes people just say, "Oh no, you know what? Just focus on the now." Thing is, these are such vague notions and theories that sometimes when that people can overthink at times.
Yeah.
You have to get steps, small
Yeah.
steps to focus yourself.
And the effects aren't really instant. And
Mm-hmm.
if they will try to apply it in their lives, they shouldn't feel frustrated if they don't feel like anything's changing and they tend to go back to their normal habits because it takes a lot of practice. They just
Mm-hmm.
have to be patient in trying to apply it in their life until it becomes natural to them. Because if they're frustrated in the first try, then it's kind of hard to move forward in trying to apply those certain principles, especially in the mindset of a person.
And
Yeah.
I'm seeing it how you've always done it, but I guess it helps when you're able to verbalize your thoughts and your thought process because you for
Yeah, or
one
to write
have
it
been
down.
exactly but you for one have always been in uncomfortable situations. Kahit we start well, we have to go a little bit throwback, but you changed positions in
Yeah.
volleyball, and everyone. who loves volleyball? And even in sports, it's so hard to change your position, especially if yun yung position mo na nakalakihan mo, tapos komportable ka
Yeah,
doon,
exactly.
parang pinag-aralan mo yun when you were young. It's like you've set your mind na, okay, this is gonna be the position that I'm gonna keep playing at and will keep getting better. And then all of a sudden, oh, hindi pala yun. And how do you balance yung overthinking again of like, am I not good enough for this position? Because sometimes that could think na parang ang nakikita mo is yung kulang mo instead of, oh, I can be better in this
Yeah,
other position.
yeah, that's so true. So yeah, let's start from where I got converted the first time, the really first time. No, not really, the second time. Because I was a spiker in high school. I was a spiker in high school. And then in college, my first position was libero. So
Yeah.
that wasn't really difficult. I was actually excited to change position because I've been a spiker for my entire grade school and high school life. Because I started playing volleyball in grade 3. So that's like what, 8, 9 years of my volleyball career. And then Coach Jerry, the coach of UP during that time, decided to put me as libero. And I actually loved the position. And they thought, oh, I can make this my position for the rest of my career. Well, that was my plan for myself. But that wasn't the plan of like my coach and God to me, right? Change
Yeah.
of plan. My coach decided to convert me abruptly, like biglaan talaga, as a setter. And at the same in the same season, he made me the captain. So disclaimer, I had no knowledge about a lot of mental strategies before and techniques. Right? Like before kasi parang it's different when you know it and parang you know about it but you don't know the specific strategies. It's
Yes,
different.
yes.
Like you're resilient, but how can I be resilient? Like what are the strategies that I need to
True.
have mentally for me to be able to become a more resilient athlete or person?
True.
Right?
Because
It's
you're
different that
grasping at
you're
like theories lang eh. Parang
yeah,
words that
it's
you come
different
up
when
with.
yeah, so it's different when you know you're like that, and it's different
Mm-hmm.
when you have the knowledge about that and how to like manage it better. So during that time when I got converted, at first I was happy because I was like, oh, new position. Like I'm the kind of person who likes like learning new things.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was gonna face. The first few days was okay, definitely, because it was 2 months before 2 3 months before the season started. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really a short period of time for me to learn a new skill. And setting at that, it's a very
Yeah, it's
technical and
tough.
difficult skill. Not just skill wise, like mentally. You have to
You're setting the
know how
place, literally.
yeah. You have to know everything that's happening. And as someone who was used to just thinking about receiving and digging and not thinking about everything that's happening, it was very difficult for me. So at first I thought it was okay. I just pushed through and tried to survive every day. But it reached a point where I would cry in the middle of the training,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
I would break down after training, and then my coach Katel, during the time, would just talk to me and try to motivate me. No, you can do this, you can do that. I remember at the Princess, in the middle of a scrimmage and training, she would go to me and tap me and say, Ayel, kaya mo yan. But like, tumutulong talaga yung luha ko, di ba? So I could just laugh about it now, but during the time it was really difficult. But right now I can just like say it without feeling anything. And then UAP came, and then there were changes in my mood, in my patterns, and my habits. But it didn't bother me because I wasn't really aware of what was happening. I was too much
Mm-hmm.
focused on training and everything about the team because I was captain at the same time. And then I clearly remember it was our Ateneo game. I think we lost really badly. And then
Oof.
we went inside we went inside the dugout, and then it wasn't really a bad like post game meeting. But after all my teammates went out of the dugout, I broke down. I really broke down. I cried really hard. Like, hindi na ako makahinga. And during that time, we had a sports psychologist and um, a spiritual coach. So our spiritual coach was there. She was talking to me and trying to help me recover and trying to
Yeah, yeah,
explain to
yeah.
me what was happening. And then and I told her what was happening to me. I told her, oh, I haven't been eating a lot. I have been experiencing like super low energy. Like after my first class, I would go back to the dorm because I don't have energy to continue the day because I feel like I need to rest to have enough energy for training. And then after that, I don't eat well. I don't have energy. There's like a heavy rock on my chest. It's really
Mm-hmm.
heavy in the mornings. It was hard to deal with. It was hard to get up in the morning. I was lucky my roommate was also a high school friend who really helped me get up in the morning. Like literally drug me out of the bed and tell me you have to go to class. And when I
Oh,
wake up
wow.
in the morning, the first thing I would think about was training, and I would feel really anxious. Like there was just so much self doubt. But I was also lucky because we had a sports psychologist. And it took a while for me to actually tell our sports psychologist what I was going through because I myself I wasn't aware I was going through it. So when I told her about it, she told me that I might have symptoms of high functioning depression. But she explained it to me. It's kind of like episodic. I am not sure of the terms. She said it's triggered by the pressure and what I'm going through right now. And then I was like, oh wow, so this is how it feels. Like I
Yeah,
wasn't really aware of it. Like I'm
yeah.
already going through it, but I wasn't aware it was happening to me until my our sports psychologist told me about it. And she gave me a book about mindset and meditation. That's when I first learned. This was when I was in third year college, I think. And that's when I first learned about meditation, how much it helps in our mental stability in a sense, and our awareness of ourselves and our surroundings and our emotions and our thoughts. And I was really lucky because I had friends, teammates, and coaches who were very supportive and who were very understanding. So I didn't tell all my teammates about what I was going through. I told a few teammates who I think could really help me at least manage my emotions and manage my team at the same time. And I had friends. They, my dorm friends, my college friends, they really helped me a lot. Especially that um, when I'm in the court, I don't really feel it. But before and after game, that's that's when I feel it the most.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I actually with my dorm friends or the people in the dorm. So they help me a lot. Sometimes when I randomly cry. They would
Mm-hmm.
actually just joke around, but we know each other too well that it really helps me and comforts me. My roommate will drag me out of the bed and tell me I have to get dressed and go to class. And like my friend could bring me food sometimes when I don't have enough energy to go out. And it was a tough time. And that's also the reason why. And my sports psychologist really helped me. During the time, we would have sessions before training and after training sometimes or before the game. And it really helped me mentally. And that's when I realized, no, oh wow, like athletes also go through these things. It's a misconception that when you're an athlete, you have to be mentally and physically strong all the time. But athletes, at most times, are put in really high pressure situations that
Yeah.
can cause stress, anxiety, and depression. And when there's no one to actually help them, it can really go further or become more severe. I'm not sure how it actually progresses, but it I'm just lucky that I have people around me who knows about it and who knows how to deal about it. And that's when I realized, oh, I want to be a sports psychologist in the future. That low point was also like a transitioning point for me. That's when I realized now, during that time, I don't really know what I want to pursue. I was
Mm-hmm.
taking up communication research, so I was taking general research, right? But I don't know what field I want to pursue. And during that time, that's when I realized, oh, I want to be a sports psychologist in the future. I want to help athletes and coaches who actually go through these things, and I want to help them have the mental skill to be able to manage this kind of situation. So I think it was a low point and high point at the same time. Looking back,
Yeah.
really low point, but the high point because I found my purpose during that time, right? Like my long term purpose. It was a low point because at some point I got depressed, and it was like a really huge kind of situation for me because as someone who is perceived as strong, I would remember when my teammates would talk about it. No, ate Ayal, okay lang yan, matapang yan. Eh.
Mm-hmm.
But then I there realized that I was capable of experiencing such thing as someone is really mentally strong at that point. So yeah, a high point for me because I really found my purpose, and that's something I've been really working on for the past years. And I'm lucky because I have mentors who are helping me to experience like I had like an internship with a sports psychologist before, and I was able to do firsthand like sessions with the UP team as well. So yeah, I found my purpose in that really low point. I think it's a win-win for it. But during that time, it was really tough, and I want athletes, future athletes, and even athletes right now to have someone to help them because it's hard to go through it alone and not knowing how to do it.
I think it's good that you mentioned that athletes, you know, are always into these high pressure situations and they start young. For some, they really start young.
Yeah.
And nakikita mo na talagang mas kailangan na may guidance, especially in a team, that having a coach is all well and good, but having someone like a sports psychologist to be there to also take care of your mental health is as important because while we do admire and recognize the efforts of our coaches, they also are very limited. We all have our own expertise, and
Exactly.
there's a limit to their coaching and mentoring. And sometimes it can even be the cause of more anxiety and
exactly.
depression.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think if anything, I'm really just in awe of athletes. Parang, if you can tell me, I, for one, am very curious. Kasi, yun na nga, you brought up na you guys are always in high pressure situations. We don't see it. In fact, thank you, Ayel, I think, for bringing it up. Like, it's something that I never thought of. But athletes really are mentally and psychologically stronger than most people. What brings about that kind of mindset? Is it because of parang since you started young na in that kind of situation, so the mindset is kind of drilled in. That's why I wouldn't say na it's easier to bounce back, but compared to most, it is.
Mm-hmm. I think it really depends on our past experiences, and the big influence really are the people around us, the people we surround ourselves. Um, because our environment and the people within our environment, they have a big impact on our mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm also very blessed to have a really good foundation of in volleyball because my high school coaches and teammates were really good help. Like they really explained to me like what teamwork is, what discipline is. Like from a young age, I know the value of those things like why is it important for an athlete to be disciplined? Why do we have to make sacrifices? Like teamwork is not just about like you winning, but it's about also knowing your own purpose in the team and how you help each other to grow as individuals. So I think I had a really good foundation, and I was very blessed and lucky to have that. But for others who doesn't have that kind of opportunity and goes through certain mental issues or like problems, I think it's more difficult. It really depends on what you've been through. And that's why it's important because each athlete they have different needs. They have different mindsets, different needs, different anything. Each athlete
Yeah.
is unique because we all come from different backgrounds and orientations, right? And even when you're in a college team, we all come from different high school teams. Na iba-iba rin yung systems and yung coaching style, right? So you have to adapt. And for me, that's why it's very important for teams to at least appreciate the job of a sports psychologist, or to at least like hire or like allow their or learn something about sports psychology, right? To be able to help their players, because it's not just about um, applying those knowledge in really tough times, like when a player is stressed or when a player is depressed or anxious. Like ideally, that's when or where you apply it. But actually, like let's say a coach always tells us that it's important to build the foundation, the basics of the skills physically, right? But a sports psychologist would actually teach us the basics of the mental skills. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes hand in hand. Like the physical and the mental skills goes hand in hand. And sometimes when we're in the most crucial part of the game, it's not just about physical. Like sometimes it's also about mental. And when it's crucial, it's more mental actually for me. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. So that's what sports psychologists actually do. They teach us the basic mental skills we need for us to be able to perform at our best, or at least attain our full potential, or at least become better individuals, not just as athletes, but even outside of the court, right? Be mentally resilient. Because people always say that you have to be mentally strong, but that's not true. Sometimes we're not consistently mentally strong, right? So we have to be mentally resilient. Like what are the strategies we can use to bounce back, especially when we experience low points? And life is not just about points all the time. It's
As we
always
have
like
seen this
that.
whole year.
Yeah, like there are low points and high points. So how do we deal with both the situations, not just the low points? How do we manage ourselves at the same time when we are in our high point, right? So that's the importance of it. And the field is growing. Sports psychology is growing in the country, but um, I think there's a scarcity in practitioners. Like a lot of athletes need a sports psychologist, but there's not a lot available in our country. So yeah, that's something I really want to pursue in the future. And yeah, I think that's it.
No, that I think yung a lot of people in the sports industry or who's had really I would say parang they've done a deep dive, and anyone involved in the sports industry would see that while the fans, the community, you know, it's fun. I would say it's enjoyable, very glamorous also on the outside, but you delve deeper and deeper, and you see the gaps. You see things that are lacking, and
Yeah.
oftentimes you see things that are problematic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. Sports psychology is definitely one of them. Na I've had a lot of friends also who are athletes who have mentioned na parang, this is something that I'm passionate about. Na they've like dropped stats on talagang like the what's needed on how many athletes go through all of these things, but
Yeah.
there's not much opportunities. And I think it's because also of the mindset. Now, what you said kanina, na parang when you're an athlete, people think that you're always supposed to be consistently mentally strong.
Yeah.
And, petics lang na trabaho yan. Naglalaro lang sila. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things go into play. And at the end of the day, it's still a job.
Yeah. And just to add on that, actually, before the idea of I think even my idea of how to make an athlete mentally strong is to put them in a really high pressure situation, right? Like coaches think when they put us in a situation where we're uncomfortable, where it's really high pressure, that's where
Mm-hmm.
we break our limit, and that's where we become stronger. But that's true. That's actually true sometimes. And a lot of times, that's actually true. Because, panghugutan mo rin yung experience mo na
True.
yan. Parang, oh, kaya ko to kasi nalampasan ko na to, right?
Yeah.
But it's different now. I think um human development in a sense it's more for me it's more like very technical now. It's more
Mm-hmm.
complex in a sense. That's why I feel like there's a need for a different coach to address the mental aspect,
That's
right?
true.
Because also it's like for me it's like one burden out from the head coach or the physical coach or the skill coach, right? Because there's someone who's actually there to help the entire team, not
Mm-hmm.
just like be mentally strong but also work on the cohesion of the team, the teamwork, the purpose of the team, because that's like the entire scope of the sports psychology, right? Field. So yeah, I think that's very important. And what's sad about what's happening right now. I know athletes also who experienced trauma in the competition,
Mm-hmm.
who were severely depressed, and then they would go to the head coach and they'll tell the head coach I need help, but the head coach and the school does not have anyone to offer to them. So I think that's why the field is really important right now, and sports psychologist is badly needed by a lot of athletes and teams.
True. You talk about the relevance talaga of sports psychology and how it's needed now for athletes, and we're seeing the gaps and how they should really be part of the coaching team. And that it's a must. And a lot of that has something to do na sports psychology is relevant because the game has changed.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as how it was before na all about strength. You're seeing now kasi it's gotten more technical, like you mentioned.
Mhm.
It's all mind games, and with the additional noise, whether of course the media, the
Yeah.
haters, social media, it's created a lot of distraction and white noise. And you're right, sometimes trauma doesn't always come from losing a game. Sometimes it comes from people also hating on you. Like
Yeah.
it's so easy to be mean nowadays. You have the platform to do so, and but there was a saying na parang, remember na when you type, there's another person on the other side of the screen. We
Mhm.
forget that. And it's, we need that more than ever because being mentally tough, it's become more of a skill na eh. Like it's
Yeah,
something that you really
exactly.
have to harness. Like it's not anymore an innate thing. It's something that you
Yeah.
have to
And
cultivate.
and just like physical skills, mental skills needs training as well. So it's not like the strategies and techniques and principles are taught to you and then you just know them, right? You try to apply it on a daily basis in training or even outside training so that it becomes natural for you. Just like the physical skills, we try to do a lot of repetitions and then we try to mindfully do it, remind ourselves how to do it or like how to do our form. We practice it every day, and just like that, mental skills should be practiced in training so that you'll be able to use it in the game. It's not like they present it to you and then you go do it and apply it in the game. No, you have to apply it in training first so that you could apply it in the game, just like the skills that is taught to us by our coaches.
But how
Yeah.
did you also apply that to real life? I think you really are very, very blessed. Kasi while a lot of athletes also, of course, struggled to, find a new team, find,
Yeah.
to play volleyball even now, you are also one of the very, very blessed people to still have another job after you lost your previous one.
Yeah.
So, how is it like? The parang sometimes kasi when you get so many things also, there's this kind of mindset that you can also go on a self-pity mode. Na it's not always about being triumphant. Sometimes you can also choose on feeling negative even by getting all of these blessings. And how do you snap out of it and choose to yung compromise na parang, yes, I'm very blessed, but you choose to do something good about it and what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think the being able to still play and being a team, that's a lot. That's really a big blessing because there are a lot of players and even college players who lost their scholarships because the school couldn't pay for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think even though I went through all of it when Motto Life disbanded, which was, I would admit, a really tough time for me at the same time, it was also like a low point for me. But I think right now the best thing we can really do is to stay grateful to everything that we have, to be to be alive and to be like healthy and to be able to do what um, we love the most. So I think that's something I've been practicing, mindfully practicing or consciously practicing for the past month that I haven't really done a lot before, even though we're taught some strategies on how to be grateful. Like for instance, at the end of the day, you try to write everything you're grateful about, even like the simplest things like, oh, I'm grateful for Grab because it delivered food for me and I didn't have to go out. Oh, I'm grateful for electric fan because hindi ako naiinitan. Like as
Yeah.
simple as that. Like I think that's something I've been consciously practicing. Like to be grateful in whatever I have right now, regardless of the challenges and the struggles. And I think that's something that a lot of people are also practicing right now. And there's a lot more conversations about it, like being grateful, being mindful, meditation, like what are the things that could actually keep you sane during this time? Because
True.
we can't deny this is really a difficult time. And everything's just really uncertain and unpredictable. And whenever things happen, it's either we really react negatively or we try to focus on the good things that's actually happening. Because it's okay to be aware of what's happening and to have opinions, but also we at this point we really have to prioritize our mental health because it's hard to not be sane at this point of time, right? So I think a lot of people are doing a lot of things for them to be mentally stable at this point, like meditation. Me, I do journaling. Like during a really low point, I try to journal. I don't just journal in my good days. I journal more on my bad days because I want to be aware of what I am feeling, and I try to write down also what I can do to actually help me be better or like address that certain feeling. Um, so maybe I can share my morning routine that keeps me sane a lot and
Yeah.
that really
I
excites me.
I think I for one, because Instagram, that's how you keep up with everyone nowadays. I remember early quarantine how you would do that. You would post about it, and
Yeah.
sometimes that is what I'm saying. That you can use your social media, you can use your platform for good by first, I think accountability. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you found a way. That's how you keep accountable to your routine, to the things that keep you sane. The second is you can uplift others and share also how they can do the same. But yes, please
Yeah.
share your morning routine. I
So
love this. Like I have watched and seen it in your stories millions of times, and I'm like, she's so consistent. I remember thinking, I was like, she's so consistent and actually doing this every day. It's insane.
yeah, I try to be as consistent as I can be because it's really something that's been helping me. Not just to be mentally stable, but more
Mm-hmm.
so to be aware of what I'm going through right now, regardless if it's negative or positive. So first thing that I usually do is I take a shower. Before, I don't really shower in the morning before I go to training because that's like that's me having to wake up earlier and having
Yeah.
to like spend more time in the CR than just me changing and going to training, then shower after. Right? But right now I realize it helps me be more awake. So I don't drink coffee that much anymore in the morning, so I shower. That's my alternative because I've been
Wow.
drinking too much coffee. So I shower and then I listen to a podcast, one to four podcasts in the morning. So that's something that helps me nurture my mental my mental diet, right? Because they say you have like a diet for your body, nutrition, but you also have to have your diet
Mm-hmm.
for your mind. So that's something that helps me um, learn new things and have more knowledge about certain topics. And then I journal. Like that's my favorite thing. And my journal, I have like certain questions that I answer, like how are you today? Like what are your plans for today? How do you plan to achieve this? And what core value was highlighted for today? And yeah, those simple questions that helps me plan my day and manage my day better. And then after that, that's when I start. No, after that I would cook breakfast, then eat breakfast. Before I don't eat breakfast also, but I realize I need to. So anyway, yeah. So I'm more conscious now with what I put inside my body. That will actually help me have more energy or perform better my tasks for the day. Yeah, so that's it. Those are like simple things, but the impact of it in my day is really big, that it helps me. When I miss one thing, I feel like I can't start my day well. So that's why you'll see how consistent I am, because that's like
Yeah.
how I want to start my day. It helps me be more productive during the day. And like one thing that I um learned the most maybe this pandemic is to take breaks.
That's
Right? And to
true.
put rest in my schedule, because my friends, my teammates know this. I like being busy. Like I like a fully packed day because I like being productive. But
Yeah.
apparently, rest is part of productivity. So I think that's one of the most important things I've learned during this pandemic. It's to always put rest or breaks within my tasks during the day, even though I'm just here inside my condo. Yeah.
Oh, see, this is what I'm saying, everyone. When Ayel is here, when I'm talking to Ayel, it's like a no-brainer that I will get in-depth answers and very much, deep understanding and like a lot of learnings, which is good. I think it's so important to keep an open mind to learning all of these things because self-awareness is key. Growth is a must. Like we must always evolve to keep being better. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just keep being better because there will
And
always be room for improvement.
yeah, and these are the things I'm sharing. Actually, I didn't learn it on my own. I learned them from people I've met, and even the people I just had random conversations with. And that's why I tell people. But my teammates would ask me before, Ate, ba't parang gustong-gusto mo nakikipag-usap sa mga tao kahit hindi mo kilala? And that's because I like having conversations with people. I feel like each person has something to impart to me. Like I feel like in each person there's something I can learn from. And
True.
everything, like literally everything that I just shared are things I've learned from people around me and the people I've met along the way. Yeah.
And that's why I am very, very grateful, Ayel, that you have agreed to be part of this podcast, to be interviewed, and to share your learnings because this is hang time. This is where we get to hang out. But most importantly, you always want to leave people better than when you found them, and you want it always to be a meaningful conversation because you want to help people. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, like these are little things that you can do to help, and self-awareness even coming from others goes a long way as you have clearly shown. So thank you so much, Ayel, for
Thank
like guesting,
you.
for your thoughts. No, really, like it. I would gladly say this that doing this podcast has been the easiest job of, well, it's not even a job, but it has been the easiest thing in life because all volleyball players already have their passions to begin with. They also, one thing that I've also learned is they're all eager to share their experiences. Everyone's just excited to, also voice out how they have grown because voicing out how you've grown is also, it's like getting a trophy. You also want to show others just so you can see the progress that you've made and that you can keep making if you continue on the path that you're on.
That's true.
Oh, and like, ay, nako, this has been a great conversation, and I think as we wrap this up, I know throughout the whole interview you've given encouraging words, steps, and principles on how to be aware, to coping with change, most of all. But what would you also, I guess, something more specific and uplifting to the listeners, to your viewers, to your fans, most especially, who have seen you grow. And, as they get to know and as they learn more about you in this episode, what more can we expect from Ayel
Wow.
Estranero? No, parang, I know it's a bit of a pressure. I know we were just talking about high pressure situations, but what are the goals that you have set for yourself? I think yun na lang. For
Yeah, okay. I
2021.
think,
Yeah.
oh, for 2021, wow.
Yeah, I think,
Honestly,
nowadays, diba, being the present nga, I would love to say the future, but let's take it 1 year at a time at this point.
yeah.
So for 2021,
I think I always start my year setting my goals, my long term and short term goals. Like I have ways on how to do it.
mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think I've been focused more. Okay, let's say my goals are really to get better in volleyball. That's like very general, right? Because that's
Yeah.
been like my purpose for a long time. And also to do good in my academics because I'm taking my master's right now. Like two general things, two important things that are very important for me right now: volleyball and my academics, because
Yeah, yeah.
that gives me purpose. And those are two things also that are very aligned on my long term purpose, like being a sports psychologist, right? But since I've been very busy lately and my schedule are kind of really packed because of my academics and training, I've transitioned into becoming more task oriented. So I haven't thought much of like a really big goals aside
Mm-hmm.
from volleyball and academics, but I focus more on my daily goals, like what they have to finish today, and I just focus on those certain things because when I try to look too much in the future and
No,
then
yeah,
to
yeah.
look a little back from the past, it easily overwhelms me. To be honest, for the
Yeah.
recently, like the past few weeks, so I try to be more task oriented, focus on what I have for the day, and just try to accomplish that. And by the end of the day, just put it there and start another new day the next day. Yeah, so that's me for the past weeks. I try not to, since everything's so uncertain, unpredictable, and I also try to manage my expectations and
No, that's.
manage my own, yeah, and manage my own goals for myself. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think I set too much goals last year and things happened, and it was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very difficult to accept that like I'm starting a career in volleyball, in professional volleyball, and I'm starting a career in a different path outside volleyball, and things happened. It was kind of difficult to accept. So right now, I think the best thing to do is to really manage my expectations. Doesn't mean I have to like set my standards low, right?
No, that's
But
true.
it's just managing everything, my expectations, and what I can do as of the moment that we're still in a lockdown and there's still a pandemic.
Yeah.
So yeah, but things are really getting better for me, I think, and I feel more better about myself, and I feel inspired and motivated with my goals. And I think that that's the most important thing when we're able to establish our purpose and our core values. We try to stick on it so that regardless of what happens, we have something that guides us, and that's pretty much our purpose and core values in life.
True. And I would like to end this interview with one learning that I got from all of that is managing your expectations is not settling. I think
Yeah.
we should all keep that in mind. And again, thank you, Ayel, for a wonderful
Thank
time.
you.
And I cannot wait to see what the future has in store and to catch up. Hopefully face to face
Definitely.
soon.
Hopefully soon, yeah.
I
I'm
know.
happy to be here and to be able to share everything I've learned for the past years. That wasn't just a accumulation of a year of learning. That was like 10 years, 15 years of learnings. And it took a while for me to really be able to be more self aware. And I hope to whoever's listening, whoever will listen to the podcast, whoever's would ever like would pass by in this podcast, I hope doing well and they're not putting too much pressure on themselves,
Mm.
right? Because right now what we need is like self love and self compassion, and let's be a best friend to ourselves. Like, how do we treat our best friend? Or I hope that's how we treat ourselves as well. Like, ask yourself how you're doing, treat yourself well, and really love yourself the way you think you deserve, right?
Yes. Okay. Okay na. That is the perfect ending. I know nakailang this has been a wrap. This is like, thank you, Ayel. But
Yeah,
I think
okay. Yeah,
this is
that's
the
it.
perfect end. This is
Yeah, that was the
it,
last
Ayel.
thing I will say.
Yeah,
I'm
but
so sorry, but yeah.
no. Like, thank you so much for the wisdom. Um, as you mentioned, this is accumulation of all your experiences in the past, present, and how it has shaped you to proceed with things in the future. So I'm gonna end it with this has been another episode of Hang Time with me, Denise Disney, with our very deep and wise guest, Ayel Estrañero. And we're just inviting all of you guys to don't forget to follow our YouTube channel and don't forget also to follow our podcast. And we'll see you again in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.